Have you ever, watched someone doing a task, maybe something simple like polishing shoes or tidying their workspace, and just got the feeling there was something more going on beyond just neatness?
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Well, in Japanese martial arts, that feeling is actually a core concept. What looks like, say, just cleaning the training hall. Well, it opens up this whole world of tradition and philosophy.
Absolutely. It's a practice called Sōji. That's lie in Japanese. And while it sounds simple, the direct translation is just cleaning. It's really fundamental in martial arts training.
Okay, so let's really get into this
Yeah.
because we're not just talking about, the best way to polish a dude's floor.
No, definitely not.
The material we've dug into for this deep dive, it looks at the history, the philosophy behind it, and why Suji is still so relevant today across, well, a bunch of different Japanese martial arts. It's clearly way more than tidying up.
That's exactly right. And for you listening, if you like getting to the heart of things quickly and thoroughly, we think you'll find this pretty interesting. We're pulling from historical accounts, philosophical texts, observations from martial artists, both Japanese and Western, trying to distill what Suji is really all about without getting bogged down.
Right. So our mission today, basically, is to understand why. Why did cleaning become such a central part of martial arts training,
Right.
and why does it stick around? We want to unpack its links to discipline, to philosophy, and, that sense of community you find in a dojo. Ready?
Let's do it. So, thinking about the history, it's fascinating, actually. The roots of Suji seem to go back to Buddhist temples.
Apples. Okay, how so?
Well, in those early Buddhist centers, cleaning wasn't just maintenance. It was often considered the very first step in spiritual training. And the word dojo itself originally meant those spaces within temples for meditation and learning.
Huh. So how does cleaning a temple floor connect to learning, say, a perfect judo throw?
It's a gradual evolution, especially during the Edo period. So that's roughly 1603 to 1868. Martial arts started shifting. They went from being mostly jutsu practical combat techniques for warfare,
Right, the skill.
exactly, to being more do the way. This meant they started incorporating ethical frameworks, moral development. So just like temples had daily routines, martial arts schools, which also became known as dojo, started adopting similar practices. Daily cleaning was a big one.
Ah, so it mirrored that structure.
Pretty much. It reflected this growing philosophical side of martial arts from the 17th century onwards. Self-improvement became just as important as, fighting skill.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the physical act reflects an internal cleaning almost.
You could definitely see it that way. And happening alongside this around the 17th century, you have the influence of Bushidō, the way of the warrior, really shaping samurai culture and, well, martial arts schools too. Bushido emphasized things like morality, discipline, honor.
But I'm guessing Bushido didn't have a specific rule saying, thou shalt sweep the dojo.
Huh, no, not quite like that. But while it didn't explicitly mention cleanliness, the values were there. Order, meticulousness, these were highly valued. A samurai's appearance, their gear, their weapons, keeping everything in order was seen as reflecting their inner state, their vigilance, their strength.
Okay, yeah, like the care they take with their sword. It's an extension of that discipline.
Exactly. Applying that same level of care to the training space was just, well, it was a natural fit.
So Suji became more than just practical.
Much more. It got tied up with character building. In Edo-era doji, it was standard practice for students, especially the junior ones, or the live-in students, the uchideshi, to do the daily cleaning. Sweeping, scrubbing.
And this wasn't seen as, like, a chore or punishment.
No, it was seen as part of the training itself, a way to practice discipline, attention to detail, humility, basically the same qualities you needed to master the martial art. It was a daily lesson in commitment.
Like an apprenticeship in focus.
Precisely. And the juju itself was, and still is, seen as a sacred space, a place dedicated to pursuing the way. So naturally, it demands respect. Cleanliness is a fundamental way everyone shows that respect.
Hence the no shoes rule and everyone pitching in.
Right, that shared responsibility is key. And it wasn't always just the students either.
Oh. The masters too?
Yeah, it wasn't uncommon for masters to clean alongside their students. It was a powerful way to show humility, and leadership, reinforcing that everyone shares the responsibility for the space. It kind of leveled the playing field in that respect.
Okay, so we've got the origins tied to temples, the influence of Bushido values. How did this carry forward into specific martial arts as they developed, say, in the 19th and 20th centuries?
Good question. As many older jutsu forms were reformulated into do disciplines, focusing more on that personal growth aspect, Suchi generally stuck around. Or sometimes it was actively reintroduced. Take Judo, for instance.
Founded by Jigoro Kanju, 1882. You mentioned he was influenced by Bushido, but also Western ideas about education. How does cleaning fit in?
Well, at the Kodokan, the first Judo Doji, daily Sōji, was essential right from the start. Students looked after the tatami mats, kept the place clean. It was a sign of respect. And Kanju had these core principles like jita kushe, mutual welfare, and benefit.
And cleaning together fits that perfectly.
Right.
Everyone benefits, everyone contributes.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what rank you are, everyone pitches in. It embodies that idea. And his other principle, Seiryoku, maximum efficiency, you could argue that maintaining an orderly, clean space helps achieve that too. Less distraction, more focus.
Makes sense. What about karate-do? Its Okinawan roots were a bit different, weren't they?
They were. Traditionally, karate in Okinawa was often practiced in less formal settings, courtyards, maybe simple halls.
Yeah.
Cleaning wasn't necessarily this formalized ritual, but students often just naturally tidied up out of a sense of responsibility.
So when did the formal Sōji come in? When it moved to mainland Japan?
Pretty much, yeah. When karate arrived in Japan around the 1920s and started evolving into karate-do, it adopted many of the existing Japanese doji customs that included tsuji.
So sweeping and scrubbing after training became the norm, like in Judo.
Exactly. It aligned with other Buchu practices. Gichin Funakoshi, the founder of Shotokan, really emphasized character development, etiquette, the dōjō-kun, the rules of the juju. For his students, humble cleaning was part of that package. Respect, discipline. Tsuji demonstrated those.
And that's still common in karate today.
Oh, absolutely. All over the world. You'll often see the kohai, the junior students, starting things off, but the expectation is everyone joins in. Seniors participate too, showing modesty, setting an example.
Okay, let's talk Aikidō. Morihei Ueshiba, the founder. Big spiritual component there, right? How does Tsuji connect?
Very strongly. Ueshiba put a huge emphasis on purification misogi and spiritual discipline. Tsuji, cleaning the dojus after training, is seen almost as an extension of misogi. You're purifying the physical space, but it's also seen as purifying your own mind and spirit.
So it becomes almost meditative in Aikidō.
You could say that. Ueshiba drew heavily on Shinto purification rituals and Zen Buddhism, which both link physical and spiritual cleanliness. So performing Tsuji, often in silence or with focused intent, it really supports Aikidō's values. Harmony, humility, respect for the doji as a sacred place.
And Kenju. Coming from swordsmanship, Kenjutsu. Does cleaning fit in there too?
It does. Modern Kendo still carries forward many samurai virtues. Discipline, respect, and cleanliness is part of that. Traditionally, the younger Kendo, the practitioners, start the cleaning, usually guided by seniors.
Is there a specific time they do it?
Often, yes. Sometimes before training to kind of clear the space and the mind, get focused, and almost always after training as a way of showing gratitude. It ties directly into Kendo's emphasis on reiho, or etiquette. Respect for the place, the equipment, your partners. There's even a saying in Kendo, when you polish your sword and sweep the floor, you polish your character.
Wow. That really sums it up, doesn't it?
It really does. Links the physical act directly to inner development. Discipline, focus, all core Kenju values.
I've seen this practice, Zuchingate, everyone with damp cloths wiping the floor.
Yes, Zukindake. That's very common across many different martial arts doji. Everyone gets down, often in lines, pushing these cloths. It's more than just getting the floor clean. It's a ritual. It builds discipline, unity. It's often considered just as important as practicing techniques. Many jujus start or end every single session with Tsuji.
So clearly, way beyond just a clean floor, what are those deeper philosophical, maybe cultural values packed into Tsuji?
Well, philosophically, a big one is cleaning the ego, cultivating humility.
How does wiping a floor do that?
Because everyone does it. The beginner, the black belt, sometimes even the head instructor. There's no rank when it comes to Tsuji. It teaches you to put your ego aside. Nobody's too important or too skilled to grab a broom or a cloth. That humility is really central to traditional martial arts.
It's like a practical daily lesson in equality, in a way.
Exactly. And there's that Japanese proverb, when you do clean with your own hands, you clean your heart. It frames Tsuji as mental training. The physical act helps bring about an inner change.
And culturally, where does it fit in broader Japanese thought?
It connects to some very deep roots. Shintoism, for instance, places huge importance on ritual purity harai, removing impurities to achieve a clean mind and environment.
Okay.
And then there's Zen Buddhism, where daily work, including cleaning, they call it samu, is actually a form of active meditation. It sharpens the mind, cultivates mindfulness. Think of Zen monks sweeping temple grounds.
Right, that image is very familiar.
So these ideas definitely flowed into Bushido and dōjō culture. Cleaning became this active expression of respect for the place, for the teacher, for the training itself.
It's showing respect through doing, not just saying.
Precisely. And when students take responsibility for maintaining the dōjō, it teaches them accountability, gratitude for the space they get to train in. Plus, working side by side, cleaning together, it builds community, teamwork, equality.
And discipline, I suppose, doing it consistently, thoroughly.
Absolutely. That discipline carries over directly into their martial art practice. And one more thing, the repetitive, often quiet nature of Sōji. It can be a time for reflection. Kind of like mokuso, the meditation often done at the end of class. Your mind can process the lesson while your hands are busy.
It's amazing how much is layered into such a seemingly simple act. What about historical proof? Do we have sources talking about this?
Yeah, we do. From both Japanese and Western perspectives. We already mentioned Japanese proverbs like cleaning makes the heart beautiful, which you see quoted when people talk about temple or dōjō customs. Now, the really old martial arts manuals, say 17th, 18th century, they mostly focused on techniques, maybe codes of conduct. They didn't usually spell out clean the dōjō daily.
But the values were there.
The values of cleanliness, say, and etiquette or respect were definitely implied in samurai writings. It was kind of understood, part of the culture. And interestingly, foreigners visiting Japan back in the Edo period often write about how clean everything was, personal hygiene, homes. It points to this broader culture of cleanliness that Sōji likely grew out of.
More recently.
Oh, it's well documented by Japanese masters explaining their traditions and by Westerners observing them. Lots of instructors today talk about why Sōji is important. Even something like Wikipedia, its entry on dōjō mentions ritual cleaning as common, points out student responsibility, and notes teachers sometimes join in to show equality.
Are there specific writers who focus on it?
Sure. Japanese authors like Satoru Imamura have written about Sōji-do, the way of cleaning, treating it almost like a parallel path to Bushidō or Judo for character building.
Interesting.
And Western writers, too. E.J. Harrison, a British judoka back in the mid-20th century, wrote about how surprised some Westerners were to see high-ranking black belts scrubbing floors after practice. It really highlighted those core Budo values for an outside audience.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be surprising if you weren't expecting it.
Definitely. And today, you see countless blogs, articles in English, all saying the same thing. Sōji is more than just cleaning. It cultivates the mind. So, yeah, there's broad agreement across different kinds of sources about its deep roots and its meaning.
So it's clear this isn't just some quaint historical custom. How relevant is Sōji right now in the 21st century?
It's incredibly relevant. Still a standard part of practice in dōjō all over the world. Karate, Judo, Aikidō, Kendō. If it's a traditional Japanese martial art, chances are good they practice Sōji.
Even outside Japan. You mentioned Denmark.
Yeah, our research showed examples there, and it's common in serious clubs in many Western countries, too. Students kneeling down with cloths and brooms after training. It's happening.
And the reasons are basically the same as they always were?
Pretty much, yeah. The historical reasons, the values, they still hold up. It's about developing disciplined people who respect the space and each other. Instructors often stress how it teaches responsibility. You know, nobody else is going to clean up your mess.
Right. Basic life skill, really.
Exactly. And it's that constant reminder of humility. Doesn't matter how good you get, you still clean the floor. We found that quote from a high-ranking sensei again. When you clean the dōjō, you clean your heart. It's still seen as vital for managing ego, keeping the learning environment positive.
Are there practical, modern reasons, too, beyond the philosophy?
Oh, absolutely. Hygiene is a big one, especially in arts with lots of close contact, like Judo or Aikidō. Keeping those mats clean is crucial for preventing skin infections, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Safety.
Definitely. Daily wiping ensures a clean, safe place to train. And the fact that students do it voluntarily as part of their discipline, instead of hiring cleaners, it builds pride in the dōjō, ownership.
So in our modern world, where you can pay someone to do almost anything, Sōji stands out.
It really does. It's a powerful teaching tool. It blends the physical, the ethical, the social aspects of learning all into one simple activity. And it connects you directly to the past, to the masters who did the exact same thing. It's a shared act across centuries.
So really is a small thing with huge meaning.
I think so. Sōji is modest, maybe, but incredibly profound. Its roots are in warrior codes, Zen thinking, Japanese culture. And the fact that it's still practiced so widely really speaks to its value. It teaches that the martial path isn't just about fighting skills, it's about keeping your mind and your surroundings clean. That's a lesson that lasts.
Well, that was fascinating, really diving deep into something that seems so ordinary on the surface.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up the key points, Sōji isn't just cleaning. It's this deeply embedded practice in Japanese martial arts with real historical weight, philosophical depth, and practical importance.
Right, it builds discipline, humility, responsibility, community, and just fundamental respect for the training, the place, and the people.
And it's this simple act that connects practitioners today straight back through centuries of tradition, reinforcing those core martial arts values.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so one last thought for you, our listener, to maybe chew on. Think about the routine tasks in your own life. Could any of them maybe hold a deeper meaning? Could they be chances for growth or reflection, like the sort of profound simplicity we've just talked about with Sōji? Might be interesting to look beyond the surface of our own daily grind sometimes.